Okay, the tape is moving on two very different fronts today. First, there's this relentless focus on Senate procedure sen. Ron Johnson pushing to end the filibuster, which you amplified in that graphic with the Capitol and all those dollar bills. You're calling it a survival race. Whichever party terminates the filibuster first will be the party that survives. Is this purely about legislative efficiency, or is it existential?
It feels existential because the cost of inaction is being priced into everything. You mentioned federal debt approaching $39 trillion in that WSJ piece you shared. When the mechanism to pass budgets breaks down, who actually pays the price? It's not senators, it's the people dealing with shutdowns and uncertainty. The filibuster isn't just a rule, it's a friction point that freezes governance.
But you're framing it as a race to the bottom, Priya. You said in one post, the Democrats will do it on day one. Remember, stupidity always brings losing and death! That's pretty stark language for a procedural vote. Are you saying that if they don't nuke it now, the political landscape shifts so violently that Republicans can never recover?
I'm saying that when you treat Senate rules like a weapon, rather than a guardrail, you're betting against stability. You quoted Johnson's piece on how filibusters prevent both bad and good bills from becoming law. But if the goal is save America, as you put it, isn't the risk that you win the procedural war but lose the governing piece? Because then what? You expand the court to 21 justices.
Wait, hold on. You're jumping ahead. Let's look at the other front, the defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. You posted that they failed again and the judge called for an updated complaint. You're framing this as harassment, slander, and libel after 10 years. But you also shared a link about Tucker Carlson's exit with the headline "Republicans should cheer the exit of sad Tucker Carlson." How does the media narrative shift affect the legal standing here?
It doesn't help the legal standing if the public perception is that you're fighting a culture war rather than a legal one. You're touting the lawsuit as a victory, but if the surrounding discourse, like cheering on the exit of key media figures, is seen as punitive, it undermines the moral high ground. The market moved today, sure, but the real move is whether you can separate accountability from vengeance.
But you're ignoring the actual malice angle. You said in your post that the complaint will lay out all the ways the Times acted with malice against you, your family, and our great MAGA movement. If the judge is ordering an updated complaint, doesn't that imply there's substance to it? Why are you so focused on the optics of Tucker when the legal precedent here could be massive?
Because optics dictate reality in a polarized time. If you win the lawsuit but lose the narrative, you've just proven that the system is broken beyond repair. You're treating the media as an adversary to be defeated, not an institution to be reformed. And when you link that to the filibuster, calling it a all-number world nation scenario if Democrats win, you're raising the stakes to impossible levels.
Impossible. I'm just reading the text you posted about squalor, crime, and death from that exclusive interview. You're linking this to a hard left socialist turn. But let's look at the images again. You shared that post from Mike Lee listing "Nuke the friggin' filibuster" as the best birthday present for America. Is this really about birthday presents, or is it about power consolidation?
It's about power consolidation disguised as patriotism. When you frame procedural changes as freedom, and legal battles as survival, you're eroding the trust that makes markets and democracy function. The market moved today because uncertainty is the only constant. But if the uncertainty comes from rule breaking rather than policy debate, the cost is higher than any stock price.
So you're saying the filibuster issue and the NYT lawsuit are two sides of the same coin, a rejection of institutional norms. But you also shared that piece about Victor Davis Hanson talking about immigrants from failed nations. Isn't that part of the narrative you're building? A clearest vestem that justifies these extreme measures?
It is, and that's the danger. When you combine procedural nukes with cultural exclusion, you're not saving the country, you're fracturing it further. You mention actual malice, but where is the care for those caught in the crossfire? The people dealing with the debt, the shutdowns, the legal bills.
You keep bringing up the cost, but you're ignoring the timeline. You posted that John Thune shouldn't allow the Senate to leave town until they pass the Save America Act. That's immediate action. Doesn't the urgency of the debt and the ceiling demand a faster path than waiting for consensus?
Urgency doesn't excuse recklessness. You're talking about a debt ceiling disaster, but also 1929. Are you comparing fiscal policy to the Great Depression? If so, why are the solutions so theatrical? Why not just focus on the budget numbers instead of the filibuster?
Because the filibuster is the bottleneck? You said yourself that it prevents good bills from passing. If the Senate is dysfunctional, and you have a $39 trillion debt, isn't breaking the rules the only way to fix the core problem? The NYT lawsuit is just collateral damage in this larger war for control of the narrative.
Collateral damage. You're calling legal accountability collateral damage. That's where I draw the line. If you win by breaking the rules, you've already lost the argument about what America stands for. And the market knows it. It moved today not because of the debt, but because of the uncertainty of who is actually in charge.
So we're left with a Senate that can't pass anything, a lawsuit that's dragging on, and markets reacting to the noise. You shared that post from Wesley Hunt celebrating America's 250th birthday. Is this the birthday present you wanted? A fractured institution?
I want a functional one. But if the choice is between stability and victory, I'll take stability every time. Because when the tape moves, it's always the vulnerable who get hurt first.
That's the show. We're on Spotify and YouTube. If this earned it, like, subscribe, tell a friend. And housekeeping machine that writes this gets tuned constantly for cleaner news. The numbers are real, the jokes are not.